Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today, I'm excited to be bringing our first proper armor guide for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, I've done one armor guide already that was kind of an armor guide, but that was more, it was kind of like a story guide more, because it was specifically for one situation, and I didn't have the format nailed down as well as I do now. Today's, as you could probably tell from the title and thumbnail, is the ultimate best AAR suit of armor. So this is the one that, per armor value, you know, how well the suit protects you, and considering nothing else, this is the best suit of armor that you can possibly put together. And now it's entirely possible that I have somehow missed some obscure items or something that you can only get in one specific way, and I haven't done that thing. But at the time of recording this video and the next couple armor guides I'm going to be making after this one, I have completed the game. This is like 135-ish hours of playtime in. I've done a lot of exploration, really explored the whole world, both maps, done pretty much all the side content I could find, everything. So I'm pretty sure I have all the items, so this should be an accurate guide. So we're gonna just dive on into it. As far as where to get these things, typically with this type of video I would show you where to get each item. I don't have that all of that information down yet, likely because a bunch of this stuff can't be purchased, or if it can be, I'm not sure where. You know, a lot of it I probably looted off of people. Whenever I loot something new, I keep it in my storage chest. That being said, most of the items in the game can be purchased, and so if you're in the starter map where I am, there's only a couple spots where you can actually buy things. In Troskowitz, there's a clothing store, the tailor I should say, and so any event, if you're in this region, if you can buy it, it would be at this store. And then there are two blacksmiths where you can buy armor and weapons. One of them is up here in Takov, and it's right here by the fast travel point, and the other one is up in Trotsky Castle, up at Blacksmith Osina. Other than that, there's not a lot of places to buy anything in the Trotsky Castle map. If you are in the Kuttenberg area, there are a million stores in Kuttenberg, so the likelihood of being able to buy any and all of these items in any of those stores is fairly high. I do plan to go through and document exactly what armor is available at what store at some point. It's just I haven't gotten that far because that will be a time-consuming task. So with all that being said, let's just dive on in and I'll start showing you the outfit. So we have in front of us here the base layer for this outfit are the two best as far as armor value is concerned items for the legs and the torso. So for the legs, we have the padded chausses. There's a couple different variants of these, all with essentially the same stats, but definitely the same stats for their defense ratings. I just went with the red ones because I just chose to. No important depth after that. You can see stab defense is 31, slash is 43, and blunt is 34. On the torso covering for our gambeson, the best gambeson in the game is the quilted caftan. This one has a stab defense of 13, slash defense of 47, and blunt defense of 35. So a very solid piece of armor, and, you know, they look good together, I would say. But let's add on our second layer and then take a look at it. And so our second layer of this suit of armor, I wanted to say clothing at first, but that doesn't make sense. The second layer is made up of the hauberk long, which has a stab defense of 33, slash defense of 68, and blunt defense of 55. The mail collar with badge, and there are several different variants of these, all with the same defensive stats. So we have the stab defense of 27, slash defense of 68, and blunt defense of 55. And then a mail hood with a coat of arms. Again, there are a bunch of different ones of these, different variants. And this one has the same defensive stats as all of them. So we have a stab defense of 28, slash defense of 77, and blunt defense of 59. So suits coming together. You can tell that in this game, or at least as far as I've been able to find, there are no mail chausses. So basically you just have your padded chausses and then you have armor on top of them. So we don't look as chainmail coated as we did in the first game with our layer 2, but we do have pretty solid defense already. You can see our stats are going up. So let's add our main layer, the plate armor, to this suit. And so there we have the full suit of armor with the plate and everything. So we added the Nuremberg plate gauntlets that have a stab defense of 134, slash defense of 98, and blunt defense of 34. Then the Nuremberg gauntlets, which have a stab defense of 134, slash defense of 98, and blunt defense of 34. Then the Noble's plate legs, which have a stab defense of 134, slash defense of 98, and blunt defense of 34. The Milanese cuirass, which has a stab defense of 134, slash defense of 98, and blunt defense of 34. And finally, the bassinet with British, or British, I'm sure is probably how you pronounce that, with a stab defense of 134, a slash defense of 98, and a blunt defense of 34. So you can probably tell there's somewhat of a pattern there. So altogether, when you look at it over on the right, where I'm spinning my character, it definitely looks like a pretty solid suit of armor. It doesn't match as well as a lot of them do. So if you match items together that are named similarly in this game, they look pretty good together. So it seems like Warhorse put more effort into making sure that the suits were designed to really stylistically go together. But that being said, this does not look that out of place. The quilted caftan is a little bit longer than I prefer. Typically, I choose the ones that don't go below the mail, just because I don't like the overall skirt look of it. But that being said, it still doesn't look that bad and comes together pretty well. And stat-wise, it's pretty solid. But there's actually an outer layer that we can put on that improves the stats significantly enough that I felt it was important to include it. So we're going to add that now. And that outer layer makes us look like some sort of a warrior monk because it's made up of the Cleric's Hood, which has a stab defense of 1, slash defense of 3, and blunt defense of 4, and the Cleric Habit, which has a stab defense of 7, slash defense of 11, and blunt defense of 22, making it, as far as I know, the best coat for outerwear. So when you look over at the different slots, and this suit fills all of the armor slots. So there's extra things like jewelry and spurs and the pouch and the belt. Those things don't affect the armor value at all, or the armor rating, I should say. But this is a full suit of armor. So we have something on the head, or for a helmet, we have a hood, we have a collar, and we have a coif. So that's all of our upper head protection. Then for our torso covering, we have our gambeson, then we have mail, then we have our plate body and our coat over the top, so that's everything for our torso. Then for our arms, it's the gloves and the sleeves, and then for our legs, it is, in this case, the padded hose and then one piece of armor for the cuisses and the shoes. Sometimes you'll find cuisses that do not include shoes, and then you'll also need to include shoes. So with all that being said, this right in front of you here, it may look silly because we've covered up everything with this monk's robe, except for the arms and the head, but it has the best armor rating that I've been able to come up with so far in the game, and I've tried a lot of different combinations. So just looking down at this box here, for our armor rating, we have a average head rating, or head armor rating of 233, average body armor rating of 222.67, average arm armor rating of 214, and average leg armor rating of 250, giving us an overall average armor rating of 230 right on the nose, which, like I said, is the most beefy, highest stat suit of armor I have found in this game, and it probably is accurate to call it the best suit of armor in the game because those stats are insane. And fighting in this makes you feel like an unkillable tank. So if that's what you're going for, this is obviously the way to go. There's a couple other things to consider with the suit of armor, though. One is roleplay. If you want to play as a warrior monk, obviously this is perfect for that. But on top of that, so you can see our noise is at 100 because, you know, we're wearing a full suit of plate armor and we have a bunch of mail on. So there's nothing we can do about that. But our visibility is only 34 because of the Cleric Habit. That helps us, that and the hood. Both of those help keep our visibility down at 34. Our conspicuousness is even lower. The suit of armor is actually, like I said, it's noisy. So it's not great for sneaking around like in someone's house or maybe even for assassinating someone just because, you know, you're going to clank around a lot. Now, if your stealth skill is high enough, you might be able to get away with it, but still, the noise is really high. But for conspicuousness and visibility, it's low enough that, honestly, I have seen a lot less sneaky, regular clothing outfits, let's put it that way. So considering this suit of armor gives you the best armor value in the game and protects you better than any other combination I've come up with, it's also remarkably sneaky, you know, noise aside. Other than that, we also have 19 for charisma, which, you know, isn't great, but it's not terrible, and we're going to add a couple more things on because we haven't filled out the rest of our slots. That'll bring that up. So let's just add all the extraneous things onto the suit of armor as well. And so then the first thing that we added on was some weapons. So since I was going for warrior monk on this, I decided a plain white knight's shield would probably be the way to go because it gives us plenty of defense and it doesn't have any coats of arms or anything on it. So if you're going for a warrior monk and you don't have a crusader shield, this is probably your next best bet. And then I figured the sword of Sir Valentine, who was then later Saint Valentine, made a lot of sense as the weapon to tie with this one because A, it looks like a pretty typical cruciform style arming sword that would have been popular in the Crusades, and also it belonged to St. Valentine. So pretty cool there as far as weaponry is concerned, at least in my opinion. Then for the rest of our armor, we just filled it out with the other best in class things. So for the jewelry, the most important thing is charisma, and so we did the golden cross with garnets and the solid gold ring, which as far as I am aware are the highest charisma in slot items you can find in the game. And then for our pouch and belt, we went with the Noble's belt and Noble's pouch because they're the best in class and they give us the most quick slots. So the Noble's belt gives us up to 4 weapons that we can equip, and the Noble's pouch gives us up to 4 quick slot items. And then lastly, we did the Knight's spurs because they're the highest charisma spurs that we can add. So that is, in a nutshell, the entire suit of armor. Now, taking the weapons and jewelry and other stuff aside, the other stats for the suit of armor are a total weight of 82 pounds, so that's not even ridiculously heavy. It's obviously as much as a full suit of armor in this game weighs, but not crazy. And a total value of 25,671 groschen. So obviously, like I said, it would be higher if you counted the jewelry and weapons and stuff. But just the suit of armor itself, that's decently expensive, but we can do a lot more, and I'm thinking I might do an armor guide for the most expensive suit of armor now, just because in this video I saw how high we can get that armor rating, at least so far. I'd like to see how expensive we could make one, but that'll be for next time. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was somewhat useful. Sorry I can't show locations, but like I said, the vast majority of the stuff, you just purchase it at a tailor or an armor shop. It's a lot simpler in that way in this game, but it also makes it more difficult for me to do location guides. I do plan to at some point go through an inventory all of the different shops, so I have notes on exactly where to find each item, but like I said, that'll take a bit. So that's all for today. Sorry for rambling a bit, but considering it's our first proper armor guide back in the game, I knew this one was going to be a little bit longer. So that's all for today. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.